In this lecture, we'll look at further operations you can perform with your datasets. Specifically, we'll look at sorting, grouping, defining hierarchy, and creating sets for use in your analysis. Just like with filtering, Tableau provides a number of different ways of sorting your data. Let's have a look at what they are. Here we have a workbook connected to our sample dataset, and we're looking at total profit by customer segment. We also included a breakdown on our color mark by product category, just to add another level of detail. Within Tableau, each of the dimension fields has a default sort property which can be changed. For example, if we examine product category, go to default properties and click on sort, we can actually specify how this field should be sorted at the source level. You can specify whether it should be ascending or descending, and whether it should be sorted by data source order alphabetically or even manually. So let's set it to be alphabetic sort. Sorting can also be applied at the data visualization or chart level. For example, let's drag in the order priority onto our columns and see what that does. The sorting for the order priority is set to the data source order by default. Now, this is not very helpful because we can obviously see that medium priority should be between high and low. So what we can do is set the ordering at the data visualization level by going up to the field, clicking on the context menu and going to the sort option. Now, this menu is similar to what we've seen before, where we can set sort order to ascending, descending, or we can sort it by data source order and alphabetic. In addition, because the field is within the visualization, we can sort a field relative to another field within the data visualization. So, for example, we can sort the order priority by the total sum of profits. In our case, we'll just change manual. We'll change to manual sort and we'll move medium up. The other options for sorting are directly from the axis on the visualization itself. So we can click and sort by profit. We can also select a field and sort from the options up on the top bar, ascending or descending. We can also sort from the context menu that pops up when we click on one of the headings. So again, ascending or going to customer, or going up to the customer and changing the sort order there. Now, because there's so many sorting options and Tableau provides quite flexibility when it comes to sorting, it's quite easy to sometimes get lost in all these options. If that happens, you always have an option of going up to the worksheet and going to clear and clearing all the sorts. This resets all the sort options back to the defaults. In some cases where you have many discrete values, you may want to group data for more effective visualization or to combine similar categories together. In case of order priority, instead of having 5 separate categories, we may want to show only 2. So let's do that. We'll get rid of the customer segment so we can have a clearer picture of what's going on. To create a group, we'll navigate to the context menu of the field and select Create Group. And in this window, you can specify what members should be part of which group. So let's combine critical and high together, and we'll click on Group. Because actually, what this is doing is actually creating a new field within our data source called Order Priority Group. And within this field, critical and high are grouped into a single member called Critical High. So we can see the new group has been created, or the new calculator field has been created. And if we were to use that instead of order priority, we can see that we now have a critical and high group, and the other 3 are individual. We can make further changes to the group by clicking on the drop down, going to the context menu, and clicking on Edit Group, where we can make further changes. We can either ungroup things or create further groups. click OK. And now we have only two groups. Groups are handy for aggregating and also combining the data together for like items. Leading on from grouping of items is the concept of hierarchy. Simple hierarchies are very easy to create in Tableau. For example, if we were interested in individual items from priority group, we could actually drag order priority onto the order priority group, and this creates a hierarchy. Tableau will give it the default name by combining different levels of hierarchy, which obviously you can rename. We'll click OK for that, and you can see the hierarchy has been created in the dimensions window. Also on our columns we now have a little plus sign which indicates a hierarchy, which means that we can click on it and we can expand to different levels within the hierarchy. So our critical and high group is expanded to critical and high items, and the low, medium, not specified has got the other three. We can drill back up and down. The last thing I wanted to show you in this lecture are the sets. Set is effectively a subset of data based on a specific condition. Set can contain a constant list of members, or it can be based on a calculation. So for example, we may choose products A, B, and C as members of the set, or we can define a particular expression such as top 10 products based on profit earned. So one set is static type, the other is computed, and obviously in the case of a computed set, members within the set will change based on the conditions. So let's create a static set. We'll use this scatter plot, which is showing a relationship between the profit and sales, and it's plotting all the different products on it. As with anything, there are a number of ways to create a set within Tableau. One way is to actually select marks directly on the chart. So let's do that. Let's select any products that might be $30,000 and above. There's 9 items selected, and in this little pop-up menu there's an option of creating a set. So let's click on create set, and given that we actually had a 2013 year selected, we'll call these items top sellers 2013. You can actually see what members were selected in here. So this will create a static set with these 9 members. So clicking OK. Sets are actually displayed in the bottom left corner, and we can see our new set created in here. Sets are quite a powerful tool when trying to do in-depth analysis of your data set. You can think of a set almost as a subquery that you can apply to your data set. For example, if we go to a separate sheet and we create a very simple analysis of sales by time, for example, and let's do a monthly analysis, we could actually drag the top sellers into the filters, and it will filter our chart based on top sellers for 2013. Now there are 2 ways of filtering using a set. We can do it by specific members, or we can do it by a whole set. The best thing to do is actually show you what that means. So if we have a set to show members in set, and we do a quick filter, you can actually see that you can filter further based on the individual members within the set. So we can choose different ones. On the other hand, if the set was set to show in and out of set, what that really means is that we can either, the filter would show any products that are either in the set or out of the set. If you click on OK and then add the quick filter, we can actually see there's only options of showing the data that's related to products that are in the set or out of the set. Now you can have multiple sets within your workbook, and you can use them as multiple filters and throughout your analysis. Another way to create a set would be going directly to a field, let's say product name, and clicking on create set. Now this allows us to specify a condition for the set. We can either select from the list or specify a condition, In our case, we'll use top, and we'll say top 10 by sum of sales. Now there's a set created. I'll just rename it to something more meaningful. And we'll call it top sellers all time. So this is a second set created, and we can actually drag that onto the filter as well, which will further filter our chart. Now if the sets are based on the same underlying field, you can actually combine the sets by highlighting them and right clicking and choosing create combined set. Here we can specify the name of the set and how we would like to combine the two sets. So we have a number of options. We can either select members that are in both sets, they're intersecting between the two sets, or members that are in one set but not the other, either on the left hand side or on the right hand side. So let's say we'll use an intersection because that will further filter our query. We'll rename this to combined set, and instead of using these two as filters, we can actually use a combined set. If we were to drag products onto the color, you'll see that's actually only limited to the 3 products. So these 3 products are both top sellers of 2013 as well as top sellers of all time. So as I mentioned, sets are quite a powerful tool and can be used to create some really complex queries on top of your data.